Sam Carchidi, Phillies Flyers beat writer for the Inquirer, the Daily News, Philly.com. Flyers win again. It's the first place Flyers, Sam, and I don't know, you've been around this team for a while. This team all of a sudden start playing well. Was there a moment during this run where maybe the perception for you changed of this team?
Yeah, I think it happened when Travis Konechny went to the top line, and all of a sudden the dynamics of this team changed because, he obviously was a great fit there, and all of a sudden you had a couple lines that were dangerous. And I also think, it's been a little more subtle with Nolan Patrick's development. Konechny has been, he just burst into the scene since he went to the top line. He's been getting almost a point a game. Patrick has been not as dynamic, but quietly getting better each game. He's winning more faceoffs. He's more confident. He's passing the puck, not passing the puck as much as he was, I should say, because he's, I think, more confident to make plays, and he wasn't really doing that at the beginning of the year. So, to me, the biggest improvement has been Konechny's emergence and Nolan Patrick's development, and put those two together with guys that are having tremendous seasons, all-star type seasons. I'm talking about Couturier and Voracek and Giroux, and this team is on a certified roll. It's amazing what they've done.
Which, Sam, is not an easy thing to do because that top line had been so productive, and there was a lot of people saying, well, should they break it up because they didn't have a lot of depth in those lines? And finally, I guess Hackstall said, I got to do something. Giroux, Jake, and Couturier were having an outstanding season together, but they didn't really have anybody else.
Yeah, and, Wayne Simmons was kind of quiet, too, the first half of the year, and that was through no fault of his own. Simmons had several injuries. He had 3 different injuries, and he was fighting through that. So that that's another thing that really helped this resurgence is that he has been healthy, and you saw the Wayne Simmons that we were accustomed to seeing. Now, of course, he got hurt about 10 days ago, so he's on the shelf again now. But if he can come back and be 100% or close to it, they're going to be an exciting team to watch down the stretch. To me, that's a really important development. Wayne Simmons, how he comes back, his injury, will it affect him? Will he be his old self? Because if he comes back, all of a sudden you have more depth. I think Oscar Lindblom will probably stay here, based on the way he's played the first 4 games. He looks like he belongs. Would not be surprised if Jordan Wheel drops down to the 4th line. And they may drop Lindblom down to the 3rd line when Simmons comes back. So what that does, it just makes all 4 lines more, gives them more strength, and you may see either Weiss or Laterra out of the lineup when Simmons comes back. But I really like Lindblom. I think he is fit right in. He's a hard-nosed player. He wins board battles and came really close to scoring again last night against Montreal. Great crossing pass by Voracek, and he attacked the net, and he was robbed in front, but his goals will come.
Sam Carchidi with us. Flyers are now the first-place Flyers, 78 points ahead of Washington and Pittsburgh in the Metropolitan Division. They play home with Carolina on Thursday. So, Sam, I guess what I want to ask you about is the Claude Giroux factor, because a healthy Claude Giroux, I mean, how about a guy who comes out of the All-Star break and says, I need to score a couple more goals. I need to really work on my goal scoring, and then goes out. It's like he turns on a switch. This looks like a rejuvenated Claude Giroux.
Yeah, it's funny. Dave Isaac and I, were there after a game, and he actually, he was done doing a press conference. He called us both to the side, and because the visiting media was there too, and he says, he made it a point to say, hey, I've got to start doing more. And he wanted our attention. He wanted to get this out, and, we thought he was playing pretty well. And, he says, I got to do more. And then since then, he's been on a tear. But he really expects a lot from himself. He pushes himself sometimes too much. But he has been healthy this year. We've seen a healthy Claude Giroux. He was not healthy last year until maybe the last month. And, you can see what a difference it makes. He's certainly, to me, he's an MVP candidate. I'm not saying he's going to win it, but I think he deserves to be a finalist if you had to, pick the finalists right now. A lot can happen in the last 5 weeks of the season. It will happen. But if the Flyers somehow magically become the third team in NHL history to absorb 10 losses in a row and win the division, that's only happened 2 other times in history. If that happens, if they become the third team, Giroux's going to get a lot of support.
Yeah, Giroux, a guy being mentioned for postseason awards. Obviously, Sean Couturier has always been in the Selke Award conversation, but now that he's scoring goals, his name gets a little bit more of a boost. And I guess Shane Gostisbehere for the give me the defensive one. Norris, thank you.
Norris trophy, yeah. Right, and Dave Haxtell. I mean, he will get consideration to Jack Adams. I think Gallant is a shoo-in from Vegas, but but certainly Haxtell has to be in the conversation as one of the finalists. Gallant, to me, deserves it. There's no question. What he's done in Vegas is just incredible. That's the only word. I mean, I don't use that word lightly, but he has done just an incredible job with a team of vagabonds, as Pierre Belmar said to me last, I guess when we were in Vegas about 10 days ago or so. And misfits and vagabonds is what he called his team, and they have blended together, and they're for real. They're a legitimate playoff Stanley Cup contender.
Sam Carchidi covers the Flyers, the Inquirer, Daily News, Philly.com here on the Sports Bash. And Sam, last week, Barry Mellors was on. He said when they made the trade for Mrazek, he said he felt the Flyers upgraded in goal, that he's better than both Neuvirth and Elliott. Do you concur? And that will the Flyers stick with Mrazek when they, when the playoffs come around?
Yeah, I heard that interview. Actually, it was very interesting, and it's a small sample. I've only seen him play 3 games, and when he faced the Flyers, the Flyers beat him. But I like what I've seen. He is very quick, post to post. He may be the quickest goalie the Flyers have had since Sergei Bobrovsky. I remember talking to Bernie Perrant when Bobrovsky was a rookie, and he says he may be the quickest goalie I've ever seen. Talking about Bobrovsky, Mrazek has that in him. I'm not saying he's going to be another Bobrovsky, but he's quick. Not only his quickness laterally, but he's got a quick glove as well, and he gets to his feet very quickly. He's just a very athletic guy. I like that back there. Michael Neuvirth has a little bit of that in him, but as we all know, he is so injury prone. You hate to, you can't really fault him. It's not his fault, but let's face facts. He's injury prone. So I would not be surprised going forward. If we see Elliott, he'll be back in about maybe 2.5 weeks or so, maybe 3 weeks. And I think we'll see Elliott and Mrazek. And if Mrazek is playing as well as he is now, you might see Mrazek get a majority of starts. It just depends how well he's playing. But down the road, it's an interesting question because, I would not be surprised if they try to re-sign him. He's a restricted free agent. And going forward, it could be Mrazek and Elliott. And Michael Neuvirth has 1 more year left, but they could send him down to the Phantoms, and they would get some salary cap relief. And his cap hit isn't that great anyway to begin with. So, it's going to be it's a good problem to have. And but Mrazek so far has looked terrific. There's no 2 ways about it.
Sam Carchidi, the Flyers beat writer for the Inquirer and Daily News, and of course he's got the book out with Lou Nolan, If These Walls Could Talk. I heard you, Sam, on with Mike last week talking about that book. I know I bought those for Christmas presents for some of my family, and I urge other people out there that are Flyers fans. Great stories out of Lou Nolan, who's been around since the beginning.
You're very kind, Pete. I appreciate that. Lou and I had a blast doing it. For people who don't know, Lou has been with the Flyers since their inception. He's the only person who has been there from day one that's still there and has worked continuously all the way through. In the first 5 years, he was in the public relations department working alongside Joe Cadillac. But since 1972, he's been the PA guy. And we always say it's everything from Bernie Perrant to Ivan Provorov and everything in between, because he covers, all those years, and he had just tremendous story after story. And we had a great time doing it. I appreciate you mentioning it.
Well, we're thrilled to have you on, Sam, as the Flyers, 19 games left, some big games coming up, so we'll keep going. Find him at Broad Street Bowl on Twitter. You can read his work on Philly.com or the good old-fashioned way of just go ahead and buy a newspaper. How about try that on for size? Sam, we appreciate your time, pal.
All right. Thank you, Pete.